You know, sometimes history just refuses to stick to the schedule. Back in February of 2026, New Delhi was hosting the world for a 5-day summit on artificial intelligence. But what happened on the 6th day, a day that wasn't even supposed to exist, well, that's a story of pure ambition, incredible diplomacy, and a nation's imagination literally catching fire.
One correspondent who was right there on the ground just captured the feeling perfectly. This wasn't another stuffy global conference with polite handshakes and boring pre-written statements. No, the air itself was electric. You could feel it. It was charged with something totally new. The sound wasn't that quiet, tense hum of geopolitics. It was the roar of an entire nation crashing the party and joining the conversation.
And that's why we have to talk about Day 6. The unscheduled, unplanned, and in the end, the totally unforgettable finale to the India AI Impact Summit. A day that wasn't born from some planner's agenda, but from overwhelming, unstoppable popular demand.
All right, so let's get into it. We're going to unpack how this one single extra day really managed to capture India's explosive arrival on the global AI stage. We'll look at the people who literally demanded it, the global declaration that it produced, the amazing technology it showcased, the absolutely staggering investments it secured, and finally, the verdict on a nation well and truly ignited.
So, first up, the People's Summit. How in the world did this unscheduled day even come to be? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple: the people. The summit was planned for 5 days, right? But India's sheer hunger for this event just shattered every single projection, forcing the organizers to tack on a 6th day just to handle the incredible demand.
And this number, wow, this just illustrates the sheer scale we're talking about. Over 500,000 people. Think about it. Students traveling overnight, professionals lining up at dawn, entire families exploring the expo halls. This was not some event for elites behind closed doors. This was a festival of technology for the entire country. A true people's summit.
But Day 6 wasn't just for the public. It was also the day the world witnessed the summit's biggest diplomatic achievement, the New Delhi Declaration. This was a document months in the making that was really aiming to forge a brand new global path for AI.
And to understand just how huge this was, you have to look at the numbers. The summit before this, in Paris, got 60 signatories. New Delhi didn't just inch past that, it blew right past it, bringing 88 nations on board. That's almost a 50% jump in the global coalition, a massive, massive diplomatic win for India.
And you know, the philosophy driving the whole declaration was uniquely Indian. It was guided by this principle of Sarvajan Hitaya, Sarvajan Sukhaya, which means welfare and happiness for all. So this framed the whole conversation not as AI for a few powerful people, but as a tool to uplift all of humanity, especially the developing world. Of course, the biggest question in the room was always going to be the United States, which, had kind of rejected this idea of global AI governance before. And here, India played its hand beautifully. The US did sign, but on its own terms, through a separate, bilateral deal with India. This gave Washington the wiggle room it wanted, while still giving New Delhi the crucial American partnership it needed. It was a total masterclass in modern diplomacy.
Okay, so let's move from the negotiation rooms to the expo floor, because look, diplomacy is one thing, but proving you can actually build this stuff is a whole other ballgame. And on Day 6, India's tech ecosystem put on a show for the entire world.
The energy was just palpable. Sarvam AI was the undisputed star, showing off these massive models that proved, hey, frontier AI can be built outside of Silicon Valley. You had the Kaze smart glasses drawing these huge crowds, Gnani.ai cloning voices in a dozen Indian languages in literally seconds, and a government toolkit showing how voice AI could be the key infrastructure for a country with hundreds of dialects.
Cisco's president Jeetu Patel just absolutely nailed the spirit of the event with his quote, "This wasn't about replacing humans. It was about partnership, about combining our incredible, unique human instinct and judgment with the insane scale that AI automation gives us." That was the vision, right there on display.
All this excitement, all this innovation, it obviously leads to one big question. What about the money? Well, Day 6 was when the final numbers were tallied, and they were just staggering. Over $270 billion in investment pledges. Just let that sink in for a second. This wasn't just talk. These were massive, binding commitments from global giants like OpenAI and Microsoft, and domestic powerhouses like Reliance and Adani. Everybody was signaling huge confidence in India's AI future. But here's the crucial part. This investment wasn't just about servers and hardware. It was about people.
The government announced AI Mission 2.0 with a goal of training 2 million Indians in AI skills. If they pull this off, this would be the largest national AI skilling initiative anywhere in the world, period.
And underneath all of this, India was making some major chess moves on the world stage. It officially joined Pax Silica, a US-led coalition to lock down the semiconductor supply chain. It deepened its strategic alignment with Washington, and its practical, techno-legal approach to regulation was so popular that other nations are already looking to adopt it.
Okay, so let's step back for a second. With all the hype, all the huge numbers, what's the real verdict on this historic week? What is the lasting legacy of the India AI Impact Summit?
Well, the honest assessment is, it's balanced. What India got right was truly historic. The unbelievable scale, the public engagement, the quality of homegrown tech, the massive investments. But there were gaps. I mean, the declaration isn't legally binding, China was noticeably absent, and some key civil society groups were left out of the high-level talks. So this all leads to the ultimate question, doesn't it? After all that, after 6 incredible, chaotic, powerful days, did India actually solve the monumental challenge of global AI governance?
And the answer is, of course not. No single summit could ever do that. But what it did do was maybe even more important. It fundamentally, permanently, and irreversibly changed the conversation. The Global South now has a seat at the head of the table, not because someone gave it to them, but because New Delhi earned it.
In the end, we just have to go back to that correspondent on the ground. Because what they saw wasn't just a successful summit. They witnessed something way more powerful. They saw 500,000 people become active participants in their own future. They witnessed an entire nation's imagination catch fire. And when that happens, well, the future has a funny way of taking care of itself.